On a vast field, the setting sun turns the entire sky golden. A little boy named Ethan, about 8 years old, clutching a bundle, a small firewood just picked up from a nearby forest. His eyes were full of worry. Tattered sandals crackled on the dirt road. Ethan's family was very poor. Parents died young. He and his frail grandmother depended on each other. Suddenly, next to the ridge in the distance, Ethan saw a man faint on the ground. Seems to be motionless. He slowed down. The tiny legs trembled slightly with fear, but that innate kindness let him pluck up the courage to approach. Got closer. He found it to be a woman in her 30s. Messy hair. Clothes stained with mud. There was also a thin streak of blood on his forehead. The woman was Amanda. He is 30 years old and is the general manager of a large company. She's just on her way. On the way to meet with important partners. An accident happened. The car skidded on narrow roads. She was knocked out of the car. Lie on the ground. Gong Ishiong knelt down. Said Auntie tremblingly, "Are you okay?" The woman groaned softly. "Open your eyes slightly." The weak said, "Help me." Ethan put down the firewood. Hurriedly pulled out an old handkerchief from his pocket. Carefully wiped the blood from his forehead. Said Auntie in a firm but worried tone, "Don't be afraid, I'll help you." The woman gently grabbed Gong Ishiong's hand. There was gratitude and pain in his eyes. The weak said, "Please help me find someone to save me." Ethan stood up. Said Auntie with a resolute look, "You are waiting for me here. I'm going to find an adult to help." He ran quickly in the direction of the village. My heart was full of anxiety. I'm worried if I'm slowing down, the woman would be in danger. Back to the village. The public welfare shouted loudly that someone had been in a car accident. "Please help me." The villagers heard cries for help. They ran out one after another. Lao Wang, who drives an old truck in the village, "Start the car quickly." Rushed to the scene of the accident with Ethan and several villagers. Arrived at the scene. They found Amanda unconscious. The body lay motionless on the ground. Lao Wang shouted loudly to carry her into the car. Ethan, with the grown-ups, carefully lifted Amanda onto the truck bed. The little boy also quickly climbed into the carriage. He looked at him worriedly. The car starts. The sound of an old engine. Exceptionally loud in a tense atmosphere. The car sped all the way to the hospital. Lao Wang shouted to the young man while driving, "Hold on to him if he is found to be having trouble breathing. Just do as I say." Gong Ishiong nodded vigorously. Two small hands held Amanda tightly. Suddenly, he noticed that his breathing was getting weaker and weaker. His face became paler. He shouted to Uncle in a panic, "Auntie, it seems that she is running out of breath." Lao Wang hurriedly responded. The tone was anxious. "According to what I said, turn his head to the side first. Open your mouth. Clear the airway. Then press on your chest 30 times. Then blow mouth to mouth on him." Ethan did so, despite the trembling of the little hands, but he still tried to keep his composure. He placed his hands on Amanda's chest. Press firmly, counting 123 in his mouth. After 30 compressions, he leaned down. 2 breaths into her mouth. The people in the car were stunned. Keep your eyes on his every movement. Suddenly, Amanda coughed softly. The body trembled slightly. Gong Ishiong excitedly shouted that he was breathing. Lao Wang said loudly that well done. "Lad, let him hold on a little longer." Arrived at the hospital immediately. Ethan took Amanda's hand. The tone is soft, but he said Annie firmly, "Hold on, we're almost there." The truck drove quickly towards the hospital. Bright lights. Behind him was a dark field. When Lao Wang's truck stopped in front of the hospital, the wheels are issued. Piercing braking. The medical staff immediately rushed out on a stretcher. Gong Ishiong jumped out of the car. His feet were covered in mud and sand, but his eyes were full of anxiety. "Hey, he's here. Hurry up." Gong Liqiang shouted as he spoke. Medical personnel carefully lifted Ms. Amanda onto the stretcher. He gasped and ran. All eyes were on Ms. Amanda on the stretcher. At this time, his face was still pale, but breathing seems to have stabilized. "Can I follow him?" Gong Yixiang asked in a low voice. He looked at the doctor with an earnest gaze. "One is working for Ms. Amanda. Check the pulse of the young." The doctor turned his head to look at Gong Yixiang. There was a hint of surprise in his eyes. "It seems that I didn't expect this thin person in front of me. Children covered in mud." But there was determination in his eyes. The doctor nodded slightly. "Yes, but you'll be standing outside the emergency room." Gong Yixiang nodded again and again. He and Grandma Rose hurriedly followed the stretcher into the emergency area. At the door of the emergency room, the doctor paused to look at Gong Yixiang and Grandma Rose. "And his condition is critical. Thankfully, you rescued me in time. Leave it to us. The door to the emergency room is closed." Gong Yixiang looked at the door. "The mood is heavy." He sat on a chair outside. "Clasp your hands together. Keep your eyes glued to the door." Uncle Gong gently placed his hand on his shoulder. The voice is gentle and deep. "Yan and I has done her best. Now trust the doctor." Gong Yixiang nodded, but he still didn't take his eyes off the door. In his mind, Ms. Amanda is seen lying on the field, his weak cry for help. And the moment he regained his breath, "It's all thanks to your efforts, Grandma Rose." Gong Yixiang hesitated. The voice trembled a little. "He'll be fine." Uncle Gong sighed. "Sit down next to Ethan." "I don't know, but I believe he's strong, just like you. Stronger than you think." The two of them sat quietly like this. Wait, the light in the emergency room shines through the crack in the door, reflected in the deserted corridor, like a glimmer of hope and anxiety. After a long wait, the door to the emergency room finally opened. A middle-aged doctor walked out. The face remained calm, but there was a sense of relaxation in his expression. Gong Yixiang and Grandma Rose immediately stood up. "Hey, how's he doing?" Grandma Rose asked anxiously. The doctor nodded. "Smile and say hey. He's out of danger. Just minor trauma and blood loss. Now the situation is stable. Further rest is required to fully recover." Gong Yixiang breathed a sigh of relief. The little hand gripped the corner of Grandma Rose's clothes. "It's also great. He's fine," he said with joy in his heart. The doctor looked at Gong Yixiang. There was gratitude in his eyes. "You're doing a great job. If you don't have your help, act quickly." His condition could be even more critical. Ethan looked down in embarrassment. Whisper in reply, "I'm just doing my best." The doctor smiled. Then he turned to Uncle Gong. "We need more details about the incident, so that his family can be informed. Can you tell us about what happened?" Gong Yixiang nodded. "It started when he ran back to the village to ask for help. Then to them put Amanda on the truck. The process of first aid on the road." Ethan added some details from time to time. His eyes never left the door of the ward. After listening, the doctor took notes. Then he said, "Thank you very much. We will contact his family. Now he is resting in the recovery room. If the two of you want to, you can go in and see him. Leave again in a moment." Ethan were brought into the room together. Amanda lay in a hospital bed. His face was a little more rosy than before, but still looking a little weak. See Ethan and the old man. He smiled softly. Thank you for saving me." Gong Yixiang approached. "Hold Amanda's hand." Whisper Auntie. "Don't say that. I just did what I could." Amanda looked at the teenager. The eyes are full of gratitude. Even though the body is still aching, he still tried to speak. "You are a brave child. Thank you from the bottom of my heart." Ethan patted Ethan on the shoulder. Then he turned to Amanda and said, "You have a good rest. We just want to make sure you're okay. This is the first time to leave." Ethan said goodbye to Amanda, then left the hospital. On the way back to the village, Gong Xiang watched. Gong Xiang smiled with full pride today. "You've done an amazing thing. Gong Xiang lowered his head and smiled shyly. I just hope that auntie recovers soon. The old truck slowly drove towards the village. The hospital lights behind him faded away. In Gong Xiang's heart, a small but warm joy arose. He didn't know. From this moment on, his life, there will be a change that he never thought of. A week later, Amanda made a full recovery. Can't forget that boy. And the life-saving grace of a kind man. She decided to go to the village where she had an accident. Look for Ethan. A limousine. Stop in front of a humble hut at the end of the village. Amanda stepped out of the car. He was carrying a large bag of fruit. Looked at this tiled house with some emotion in his eyes. The mottled walls are carved with traces of time. He knocked on the door, but no one answered. Through the cracks in the door that opened slightly, he saw a teenager bent over in the kitchen. That was Gong Xiang. He was skillfully cooking with a pair of small hands. In a small kitchen, just a few old pots and a simple cooktop. In one corner of the house is a small offering table. There are 2 old photographs on the front. One man and one woman. Next to it is an old incense burner. Amanda stopped. There was silence in his eyes. She understood. The people in these 2 photos are none other than Ethan's parents. Xiang, a guest is coming. From the room came the hoarse but warm voice of the grandmother. Gong Xian raised his head. Amanda was seen standing in the doorway. He immediately put down the pot in his hand. Ran out. His eyes were wide open. Aunt Amanda, how did you get here? Amanda smiled and walked inside. Say I'm here to thank you and your family. If it weren't for you and Uncle Gong, I don't really know what's going to happen. Ethan's grandmother walked out on crutches. Greet Amanda with a kind smile. Please take a seat. The family is poor, and there is nothing to entertain. Thank you for your understanding. Ms. Amanda hurriedly waved her hand. Sit on a worn-out wooden chair. He looked around. An indescribable feeling welled up in my heart. The scene of poverty at home. It is revealed through every piece of furniture. But the house is still neat and orderly. A Xiang. Do you do everything at home alone? Amanda asked softly. There was a loving gaze on the boy. Gong Xiang nodded. Smile lightly, yes. I cook for my grandmother. Grandma is old. Can't do much. Amanda listened. I was moved in my heart. Her gaze, resting on a small altar on the wall. So he asked softly, Is that your parents? Ethan lowered his head. The voice is very low, yes. Mom and Dad passed away when I was a kid. My grandmother has raised me until now. Amanda was silent for a moment. There was a tingling in my heart. Look at this thin but resolute-eyed child. Feel his young age. But it is different from the maturity and strength of ordinary people. He took out a small box from his bag. Place on the table. 1 palace and 1 shot. This is the gift I want to give you. I know you probably don't need to, but that's a little bit of my heart. Thank you. Gong Xiang opened the box. Inside was a brand new watch and a small envelope. He said in surprise and Chen. I can't take it. Amanda gently placed her hand on his shoulder. The tone is gentle. It's not just a gift. It is also a thank you from the heart. You saved my life. I hope to help you as well. Like you helped me. Ethan looked at Amanda. There was hesitation in his eyes. But eventually, he lowered his head. Thank you softly. Amanda sat for a moment. Grandma Han and Ethan chatted a few words. Before leaving, he looked back at the small house. I silently made a promise in my heart. I'm going to do something for this kid. Change his life. The car gradually drove away, leaving Gong Xiang with a grateful gaze. Keep watching until the shadow of the car disappears. The car drove through a tall iron gate. Enter a luxury villa located on the outskirts of the city. The villa is surrounded by a large garden. The lawn is verdant. The flowers are full of beauty. A small clear lake reflects the glow of the setting sun. Amanda got out of the car. There was a slight tiredness of the journey on his face. The old housekeeper Ju Deming hurried up to meet him. Mrs. E, have you worked the road? Amanda shook her head slightly. I'm fine with a faint smile. Prepare me a cup of hot tea. Ju Deming nodded. Quickly turn around and get ready for the house. Amanda walked into the main hall of the villa. The interior is ornate and modern. Every detail has been carefully designed. Crystal chandeliers sparkle on the high ceilings. Art paintings in the hallway. It shows the taste and status of the owner. He sat on the large couch in the living room. Eyes fall on the antique clock on the wall. The regular ticking of the clock, as if reminding him of many things, waiting for him to deal with it. After a short break, he came to the study. It was a spacious room. There is a walnut desk. Bookshelves reach up to the ceiling. The large windows are facing the lovely view of the garden. He opened his laptop. Start checking documents and emails from your company. At this time, Assistant Xiaomei called to report work. Mr. Chen, the meeting with partners has been rescheduled for next week. Do you need me to prepare anything? Amanda hung up the phone in silence. The voice was low and resolute. Take Lisa. Everything went according to plan. But there's one thing I'd like to ask you to help with. Look into it. The kid named Ethan in Donghai village, and the situation of his family. The sooner the better. Send me the details. Lisa was a little surprised. Yes, I'll deal with it immediately. That kid. It's the one who saved you. Right. Amanda nodded. The tone softened a bit. Yes, although Lisa you can't see. But he saved my life. I owe him a favor. Wanted to help him. Hang up the phone. Amanda leaned back in her chair. Look out the window. Looking into the distance. The humble house came to her mind. 2 old photographs on the altar. Han Gongxiang's firm eyes. No matter how busy the work is, she had to do something meaningful for this child. Ethan didn't just save his life. Remind him even more. Kindness and courage still exist in the simplest places. He continued to work on it. But a big plan is already in the works. A way to help Ethan and his family change their fate. After the work is done, Amanda closed her notebook. Lean back in your chair. The evening sun shines through the large windows. Dye the entire office golden. He stared into the distance. There was exhaustion and a vague sadness in his eyes. On the table, a small picture frame is quietly placed in the corner. The photo in the frame is hers. Husband and their son. The smile from childhood is still clearly visible. It was her husband, Mr. Carter. And their son Kong Kong. Amanda picked up the frame. Hands trembled slightly, for years have passed since that day. But it still made him miserable. There is no cure. The whole family is on their way home after a weekend picnic. Kong Kong's laughter still echoed in his head. However, in the blink of an eye, everything has changed. A large runaway truck crashed straight into their car. When she woke up, told her in the hospital, both husband and son have died. This great pain. At one point, Amanda wanted to give up everything. But in the end, she pulled herself together. For work. For the sake of those around you. And for the memory of her husband and son. She sighed softly. Put the frame back on the table. In a moment, the figure of Gong Gongxiang came to his mind. This child who has lost his parents. Still strong in the face of life. Take on the responsibility of taking care of your grandmother. Amanda said to herself. Maybe I'm the same as my Kong Kong. It should be done carefree. Public welfare auspicious cannot change the past. But there is something I can do. Let the future of public welfare be better. He stood up. Get out of the office. Walk through the hallway. He stopped in front of a door that hadn't been opened in a long time. It was Kong Kong's room. It is still the same as it was at the beginning. He pushed the door open. Walk into the room. This tiny room is full of memories. The paintings on the walls were once painted by Kong Kong. On the bed, the quilt with Superman on it was still on the line. The shelves are filled with old comic books. He sat on the edge of the bed, caressing the little pillow. Tears slipped silently. But this time, in addition to pain, there is also a strong determination. One male and one down. It will help me achieve what I didn't get from Hong Kong. The next morning in quiet office, a soft knock sounded at the door. Assistant Lisa walked in, holding a stack of papers in his hand. Miss Amanda, I've learned about Ethan. Amanda looked up, gaze focused. Very good, you say. Lisa sat down, placed the documents on the table. He said in a slow but emotional tone, Ethan is 8 years old. Lives in Dongai village. When Ethan was only 3 years old, his parents died in an accident. Currently, he lives with his grandmother, who is in her 70s. Grandmother was in weak health, unable to work. Amanda frowned slightly. His eyes grew heavier. Lisa continued. Their family is very poor. The main source of income, it was from the small vegetable garden and the help of the neighborhood. Ethan goes to school, while helping to take care of the grandmother. The kid is very well behaved, excellent academically, loved by teachers and classmates. Hear, hear. Amanda felt a pang in her heart. She couldn't help but ask. This child is in such a situation. I was able to learn so well. Lisa nodded. Yes, the head teacher of Gonggong Xiang said. He's very smart, but due to family difficulties, sometimes I had to take a leave of absence. Stay at home to take care of your grandmother. Amanda was silent for a moment. His hands clenched the pen on the table. The image of Gonggong Xiang resurfaced in his mind. The thin but nimble child. The eyes are full of tenacity and filial piety to grandmother. Such a child is really admirable. Amanda whispered. The tone was full of emotion. Tomorrow, I will do something for this child and his family. Lisa asked Miss Amanda hesitantly. You are going to do it for this child. What to do with his family? Amanda looked out the window. Distant sights. But there was determination in his eyes. Ethan saved my life. But not just for this reason. I felt it was my duty to help. Help him. The child was supposed to live a carefree life. But the reality is so cruel. He turned to Lisa. The tone is firm. You have a plan for me. I want to help Ethan continue her education and help his family live a better life. It's not just money. One more for Ethan. The path to a better future. Lisa nodded. There was determination in his eyes. I understand, miss. I'll get ready for it right away. When Lisa leaves, Amanda sat quietly for a moment. A strange feeling welled up in her heart. Deep compassion is intertwined with hope. Ethan, I can't change your past, but I'll do everything I can, helping you have the future you deserve. She picked up the pictures of her husband and son on the table. Amanda smiled lightly. It was as if I had found the strength to move on. That night, after a long day of contemplation, after the things about Ethan and the help plan, Amanda returned to the bedroom. That spacious and quiet room. Under soft lighting, his mood could not be calm. He was immersed in indescribable emotion. Fall asleep unconsciously. In a dream, he found himself in the vast garden of the mansion. Flowers are vibrant. Sunlight shines through the leaves. Crisp and vibrant laughter echoed in the air. Looking back, he saw Gong Yixiang. The child was running around in the garden, holding a colorful kite in his hand. Amanda stood there. Look at her gently. I don't know why. She felt like a mother. The heart is full of joy and happiness. Amanda, look. Gong Gong Xiang shouted loudly, with a big smile on his face. When the kite flies higher and higher, Amanda walked over, squat down and helped Gong Gongxiang tie the string of the kite. His hand touched the tiny hand lightly, warm and kind. Mom, do you think I'm amazing? Gong Yixiang turned around. The eyes are shining. Amanda was stunned for a moment. Gong Yixiang's mother echoed in his dream. This unfamiliar voice made his heart tremble. He smiled, gently stroked her hair. Well, my kids are awesome. The two sat under a large tree. talking and laughing as if they were already family. And yet, suddenly, the surrounding scene faded into obscurity. Gong Yixiong looked at Amanda. A hint of sorrow flashed in his eyes. "Mom, don't leave me behind, okay?" Amanda is preparing to hug Ethan, but he faded away. Ethan's mother's achery echoed in his ears. Pull him back from his dreams. He woke up suddenly. Fine sweat on his forehead. A dim night light illuminates the tranquil room. Amanda raised her hand and pressed her chest. "I feel like my heart is still beating violently." He sat up. Look around. His eyes were still confused. The picture of Gong Yixiong calling his mother. It came to his mind clearly. He couldn't help but ask himself, what the hell is this dream? Why do you think Gong Yixiong is so kind? He walked out to the balcony. Look at the starry sky. The cold wind blew gently. However, his heart did not feel cold. Opposite, an unusually warm feeling enveloped him. "Ethan," he muttered softly, as if hating himself. Whisper. After that bizarre dream, Amanda couldn't sleep anymore. The images of the dream kept spinning in his mind, especially the moment when Ethan called his mom. That sentence echoed in his heart, as if with a strong call and affection. The feeling is strange and indescribable. It's fresh and familiar. It's like Ethan has always been a part of his life. He sat up, looking out the window into the garden. There, the moonlight sprinkled like water in the garden of the villa. Some thoughts began to pop up in his head. That inexplicable feeling. The feeling gradually coalesced into a major decision. "Ethan, I can't just help this kid." Amanda thought to herself. Ethan deserves a real family. A home he deserves. A home full of love and care. Amanda thought about Ethan's situation. Everything he went through. The child was only 8 years old, but they live a life of poverty and lack of love. Lost his parents at an early age. I also have to take care of my elderly grandmother. Ethan's life was too hard. Amanda, I can't let him continue to endure such a lonely life. If it weren't for him, who will help him? This feeling was like a powerful torrent in his heart. He told himself, not just with money or temporary help, to help Gong Yixiong. He wanted to give the child a home, a better future, wonderful and above all to have true love. With this in mind, Amanda decided to make Ethan her adopted son. The decision was for her. It seemed to be a natural choice in her heart. Ethan's figure has become a part of her life. He didn't want this kid, then go through the days of lack of love. As for Gong Yixiong, after Amanda's visit, he continued to live with his grandmother. Every morning, Ethan would wake up early, prepare breakfast for Grandma, then hurried to school. This simple house is not rich though, but it was filled with the laughter between the two elders and him. Although Grandma is old, the body is also getting weaker, but he always insisted on being with Ethan. Complete every little thing in the house, whether it's sweeping or water the plants in the small garden. Whenever Gong Yixiong comes home from school, his footsteps in the alley could be heard. Grandma always has a smile of relief. One Gong and one Xiong. Have you fun going to school today? Grandma asked. The gaze remains. Look out the window. Very happy, Grandma. I got the math problem right. I was praised by my teacher. Gong Yixiong smiled. There was a gleam of pride in his eyes. So, what should Grandma cook for you? Grandma asked. Hands are still nimble peeling potatoes. Gong Yixiong sat next to his grandmother. Set the book aside. Grandma, take a break. I'll make dinner for you. I want to help you. Grandma smiled. There was a sparkle of simple happiness in his eyes. Well, then I'll leave it to you. Grandma also wants to see you happy and healthy. This is a two-person shared cottage. Although poor, but always full of laughter and love. Gong Yixiong has a heart full of love. Always give the best to Grandma. Every day, he helped his grandmother with household chores. Take care of Grandma. And study hard. These little pleasures It became a huge motivation for him to overcome the difficulties of life. Although Gong Ichiang's life is full of challenges, but he always had a smile on his face, bring joy and warmth to Grandma. Irrespective of how simple is this humble home they live in, the love and care between the two, it's all they need. Every night, after eating and helping Grandma with the housework, Ethan studied under a faint oil lamp. He did not dare to despise his studies, because he knows your future will be paved by today's efforts. Grandma looked at Ethan. There was pride in his eyes. Ethan, do you have any dreams? Ethan stopped. After a moment's thought, he replied, I want to be a doctor. Grandma, I want to help Grandma not get sick again. Grandma smiled. The eyes are full of trust and love. Hey, you can do it. I believe you. Ethan's life went on. It's simple, though, but full of love and care. Despite the many difficulties he faced, but in Ethan's mind, there is always a strong belief in believing. Someday, everything will be better. The next morning, Amanda and assistant Lisa got into the car, prepared to visit Gong Ixiang's home. The two sat in a luxury car, but in Amanda's heart, can't stop thinking about Ethan and the big decisions he made. Assistant Lisa sat next to her. Look at Amanda. I understand. This is a turning point in your life. Have you thought it through? Lisa asked softly. The eyes were full of sympathy. Amanda looked out the window. The determination in my heart is getting stronger. Outside the window, the green fields were flowing rapidly, but there was an unusually warm feeling in his heart. I've figured it out. I didn't just save the boy. It was he who became a part of my life. The boy needed a family, and I want to be the one who brought all this to Gong Ixiang. Amanda's tone was firm, but he said with emotion. When they arrived at Dongai village, Amanda and Lisa got out of the car, walked through a small village road. A familiar sight. Simplicity brings warmth and tranquility. They came to Ethan's little house. Saw Grandma sitting in front of the door. Baskets are braided. Ethan ran out of the house. There was a look of surprise in his eyes. See Amanda appear. Amanda smiled. There was a friendly look in his eyes. Hello Grandma Ethan. I have come today with something important to tell you. Grandma stood up. Trembling hands hold on to crutches. Gong Ixiang also looked at Amanda curiously. I don't know what happened to her. Miss Amanda, what is the reason you came? Grandma asked softly. Amanda took a deep breath. Then say it in a gentle but firm tone. I'm here today. I wanted to tell my grandmother and Ethan something. I would like to adopt Ethan as my adopted son. Ethan and Grandma were stunned. Finish. Ethan looked at Amanda. The eyes were full of surprise. Can't believe what he just said. Miss Amanda, is what you're saying true? Ethan's voice trembled. Like I couldn't believe it. Amanda looked at Ethan with a smile. The tone is gentle. Yes, Ethan. I want to adopt you as an adopted son. You don't have to live alone with your grandma anymore. I'll take you to stay with Grandma. We will become a family. I'll take care of both of you. Grandma looked at Gong Ixiang. Eyes wide. I couldn't believe it because I was moved. She couldn't believe what Amanda had just said. She lives alone in this impoverished house. Raised Gong Ixiang for many years. But there is a woman who wants to take Gong Ixiang to live with her. She didn't know what to say. Thank you, Miss Amanda. But Gong Ixiang is all that our family is. Can Grandma bear to leave her children and grandchildren? Grandma sobbed. Tears began to slide. Amanda approached. Gently hold Grandma's hand. Grandma, I understand your feelings, but I promise to treat it like my own family. Take care of Ethan and you. You don't have to worry anymore. Ethan, you'll always be there for us. We will not be separated again. Ethan stood silently. Tears glistened in his eyes. He didn't know what to do. But there was great hope in my heart. He always dreamed of having a family. A warm home full of love. And now, Amanda offered an invitation he never dared to imagine. Hey, Gong Ishiang, would you like to go with Miss Amanda? Grandma asked. The tone was choked, but with love. Gong Ishiang looked at his grandmother, then turned to Amanda, nodding. Tears rolled down her cheeks. But he knew. It was an opportunity he couldn't miss. I want to go with Miss Amanda. Thank you, Grandma, Ethan said excitedly. There was a choked voice in his voice. Grandma looked at Ethan, gently nodded. His feelings were complicated. Although I don't want to be separated from Gong Ishiang. But he knew. This is a better opportunity for him. A brighter future. Thank you, Miss Amanda. I trust you, Grandma said. Tears flowed down my face. So, Amanda took Gong Ishiang and her grandmother. Let's go back to her home together. The three of them got into the car together. Left the hut where the two depended on each other. But their hearts are filled with hope for a new life. Looking forward to a love. With a family that heals all past traumas. This story is not only about the emotional journey of family. It's also about charity, sharing, and belief in a better future. From this story, here are some lessons to be learned. Love and kindness can lead to new opportunities and change one's life. Just as Amanda did with Gong Ishiang. No one should live alone. Every child. All should have a loving and caring family. Good deeds have great power. Even a small help. It can also make a huge difference in the lives of others. Love is more than just blood relations. Family love. It can be built up through acts of care and love. It doesn't have to be a blood relationship. Sacrifice and trust in the future will bring beautiful results. Thank you for watching today. If you find the video interesting, please subscribe, like, and comment. I will try to bring you